Hello everyone, today is the 3rd of March 2024. Thank you all for joining us at Way Mountain with this discussion of the first chapter of the Avatamsaka Sutra. This chapter here, we have some new faces here, so just a reminder, this chapter here is titled as The World Rulers. It introduces the rulers of our world. Okay, world here refers to the galaxy. The universe is made up with so many worlds, so many galaxies, and a galaxy is vast, and it has many different components, and each galaxy is organized similarly. As you get more details, and we dig deeper into this Avatamsaka Sutra. But galaxies are very well structured. It's not haphazard at all. Okay, each world goes through the 4 phases of creation or formation, dwelling, okay, and decay or change, and emptiness, meaning that it's born, okay, whatever they call it, Big Bang Theory, whatever the scientists want to call it. The worlds are constantly being formed and then disappearing throughout the entire universe, okay, constantly. As one more Buddha is certified, becomes a Buddha, a new world is created. That's why the galaxy is infinite. It's infinitely, the universe is infinite. It has infinitely many galaxies. Okay? So each world or galaxy is also very well structured. It has the 3 realms: desire realm, form realm, formless realm. Okay? Desire realm is where we live. Form realm is when you practice, let's say, meditation or recite the Buddha's name or mantras or Huatou, whatever. When you practice, you will enter samadhi. You will escape the desire realm. Okay, you go into the form realm, which consists of 4 types of heavens: first dhyana, second dhyana, third dhyana, fourth dhyana, and so forth. Okay? And so you see, it's very well structured. And this first chapter here so far, we've been talking about these various heavens above us. Okay, and right now, this section of the sutra here is referring to the celestial kings in charge of, this happens to be the Tushita heaven, or the 4th heaven in our desire realm. Where we live is called desire realm, and it has 6 heavens. We went through the 6th desire heaven, 5th and 4th. That's where we are right now, Tushita. Tushita is means contentment. These heavenly beings are very content. They're so happy. Okay? That's one aspect you should know. Happiness requires to know contentment. If you're not content, you cannot be happy. So these beings, these celestial beings, are very happy. They're content. Okay? And in this Tushita heaven, or another characteristic is it has outer court and inner court. Okay? Outer court is where the regular celestial beings live. Inner court is where Maitreya Bodhisattva lives, waiting to become a Buddha. He's waiting for the time is ripe. So it's another about 16 million years before it's time for him to descend from the Tushita heaven inner court to our Saha world and become a Buddha here. So far, so good? Okay, so that's a structure. And so the celestial kings are the rulers of these many, many heavens in our galaxy. Okay, even the so many heavens, and you see, if there are no order, there's no rulers, there will be total chaos. Okay, remember in history, what's typical is in China, for example, it's a huge, vast country, and there used to be a lot of smaller countries, and therefore they're constantly going at war with each other. Okay, that's the nature of mankind. They need to be kept in check, like it or not. Okay, and so that's why yesterday I talked about World Police Force. It's basically you have to keep them in check, otherwise it's chaos. Okay, and so in a bigger picture, for us in human realm, is so small in this galaxy. It's not a big deal at all. But so if you look at this Avatamsaka Sutra, gives us a glimpse how vast this world of ours is. And it has these world rulers who actually are Mahasattvas. Mahasattvas are high-level bodhisattvas, meaning higher than Master Sheno's disciples. All right? Hey. The facts speak for themselves. You look, you're Mahasattva, I tell you Mahasattva. You're not Mahasattva, I say, don't pretend to be a Mahasattva. Okay? So anyway, so these world rulers are Mahasattvas, and meaning they're very close to become a Buddha. And you see, this is part of their on-the-job training. In order to become a Buddha, these Mahasattva has to go through to, like, in our training program, very similar. Well, I'm bragging a little bit. Please bear with me, I'm Vietnamese. Okay? In our program, everyone who walks in here, doesn't matter how old you are, how long you've been a monk or nun, you start from the bottom and you work your way up. You get exposed to all the phases, okay? And that's the typical training of Mahasattvas and Bodhisattvas. So you are future Mahasattvas. Okay? So these Mahasattvas, they're very close to become Buddhas. And therefore, they are sent throughout the universe to do these petty jobs, like being a king of a desired heaven, which to Mahasattva is like going back to a toilet. Really, running a toilet to them, because these heavenly heavens are so impure. Ikya. Okay? And so, you see, someone asked me earlier, do enlightened people get overwhelmed? Another question, are enlightened people overwhelmed too, like us, the rest of us? And the answer is, of course not. We pretend to be overwhelmed. Okay? Little do you know. Anyway, to these celestial kings, they say, okay, so what do you want me to do? Like very much like the monks from the other system coming to our system, we say, you want me, what? Do the toilet? Excuse me? Okay? And so that's why these celestial kings, they are big shots, very, very big shots. It's for us to be able to hear of their names. We're talking about dropping names, name dropping. Okay? You hear of celestial, if we're on slide 520, celestial king, good eyes. He's a big shot. There's so many of these celestial kings. Okay? And for him to be mentioned in the Avatamsaka Sutra, he's probably this far away from becoming a Buddha. Seriously. All right? So let's go into it. Any questions about this? And, you need to, it doesn't hurt to memorize some of the names. You go up there and say, hey, I'd like to say hello to King Good Eyes. I say, oh, yeah? All right. Celestial King Good Eyes, gain a passage into liberation of universally purifying the realms of all sentient beings.
善目天王得普尽一切众生界解脱门。
Okay, so he's a big shot, this good eye, Celestial King. How did he become a big shot? And this chapter here gives us a glimpse on their trade secret. In our world, for example, the family trade secrets, right? You pass on your professional excellence to your offspring, and so that they have some edges over the competition. Okay, so this guy here, he became enlightened passage into liberation, meaning that he became enlightened. Okay, enlightened. This is what he did to become enlightened. By purifying the realms of all sentient beings universally. Universally meaning that there's nowhere where he's not willing to go. Okay? I have a Korean Sunim right now, okay, who've been here like how long now? 4 or 5 years? 4 or 5 years. And I asked him, it's not about you, Shorty. I asked him, are you Korean or not? He says, no, I'm a San Francisco boy. Meaning, he says, he'd rather be in San Francisco than in K-Land. So we're talking about discrimination. It's not universal. The mind is not universal. Okay? So universally meaning he does not discriminate anywhere that he sent or he has to go to work, he'll go without hesitation. And we're talking about very far places in the universe. So you see the kind of travel he has, the mileage club he has is like free upgrades constantly. Purifying the realms of all sentient beings. Okay. Why would you purify the realms of sentient beings? Sentient beings refer to beings like us who have feelings and consciousness. Sentience are defined as having 2 characteristics. Number 1, consciousness, okay, meaning that we can perceive things. What is consciousness, by the way? I'm checking with the fundamentals because now I know that we have a mixed bag of very advanced people to low-level people. So that's why sometimes I lose track of it, who's who. But so every now and then I will give you a quiz, surprise quiz. What is sentient? What is consciousness? It's open book. Our tests are always open book. And with the advent of AI, why not? Yes, 8.
Thank you, Master. I don't know from a book the answer to your question, but I believe consciousness is the realm of our thoughts, whether they're false or not, the realm that we live in every day.
Okay, not wrong. Anyone else? What's consciousness? What's consciousness? Shu. Okay, Shu, Chinese. Thức, Vietnamese. And what's Korean? Sick, very close to Vietnamese. You know that? Yeah. Vietnamese and Koreans actually used to be the same race. Anyway, that's why the language is very similar. Sick. So what's consciousness? Yes, MJ. MJ sounds so important. MJ. That's MJ. Yeah. 4. Yeah, power up. Yeah, the power up. The technology. Soon in the future, we have that handheld there that's run by AI. It senses your pulse and says, oh, I turned myself on. 1.
Thank you, Master. It's self-awareness.
Self-awareness. Very good. Anyone else? What's consciousness? Anyone else? JMT, what's consciousness?
한사, 시기 무엇입니까?
Như là Phật, cái thức tức là cái nó tiếng nôm của mình là cái biết, cái nhận biết. Thì cái chân tâm của mình nó tổng hết tất cả, nhưng mà từ trong cái đó mình khởi lên một cái niệm thì sinh ra 6 căn 6 thức. Tức là qua con mắt thì làm cho mình biết cái biết của con mắt, qua lỗ tai cái biết của lỗ tai, qua cái mũi biết của lỗ mũi, cái miệng vân vân. 6 căn. Thì từ cái trung tâm đó mà bây giờ chia ra làm 6 cái biết khác nhau, gọi là 6 thức.
Very good. You got that? Koreans, you got that, Koreans?
Chúng ta động với chư Phật trong cái chân tâm đó, nhưng một niệm bất giác mình khởi lên cái ngã cái nhân, thành ra nó sanh cái 6 cái thức, cái căn, cái thân của mình đó, faculty, mắt tai mũi lưỡi thân ý. Thì mỗi cái nó từ cái chân tâm đó mà nó khởi cái biết riêng của nó. Cái body của mình thì nó biết nóng biết lạnh, cái lưỡi biết mặn biết chát, mắt thấy nó xanh thấy đỏ.
Metaphor Master. So the consciousness is like our sense of realization. Our true mind recognize everything. So it started from one thought of ignorance, and therefore it gives rise to 6 sense of consciousness coming from the 6 faculty. Therefore, your eyes see the form, your ear hears the sound, your body has sensed the feeling of hot and cold. Therefore, from that core is from that mind that it's separate, categorized into 6 different sense, and that's why, therefore, we're calling it 6 consciousness.
You see how detailed Buddhist knowledge is about the mental and the spiritual aspects of life. Okay, there's no way the scientists can figure this out. Either you know or you don't. You cannot experiment, you cannot measure, it's impossible. Okay? So you follow a scientific approach to discovering life and understanding life, you will be limited to very, very low level of knowledge. Buddhist knowledge here comes from insights from the Buddha. Okay? So the old abbot is not wrong. Anyone else? How about, I'm curious about the young abbot. What is consciousness, young abbot? Sick.
Thank you, Master. Mostly I have the same idea with Master C, that the part of the function of the mind that help you recognize the environment through your 6th sense. But I add there are 2 more kind of consciousness, that the conscious of the ego and the the alaya
Yeah,
consciousness.
eighth consciousness.
More.
Alaya, yes. Very good. Anyone else would like to add to the abbot's inputs? Yeah? Okay. Very simply put, let me explain to you how it's defined in Buddhism. Okay? Buddhism, we have your six sense organs. You know what they are? The eyes, the ears, the nose, the tongue, your body, the skin. Yeah? The six sense organs, those are your sense organs that you have. So far, so good. You have here. This is where you are. Your six sense organs that you own. So far, so good. This is inside of you. Outside of you, there's what? There's sound. There is form. There is spaghetti sauce. So you have the six, what we call the six sense objects, or the Buddhist term is six dusts. Because all those are basically dusts. They cover up our true nature. The sound you will hear outside has a function that it tends to cover up our Buddha nature. The vision that you see, the form you see, have a way of muddling us, confusing us. Is that clear? So you have the six sense objects. The Chanel number 5 says, and where's your mind? Confused. Yeah? Okay? So the six sense objects are called dust because they cover up our true Buddha nature. And beautiful? It's the truth. Okay? So we have inside, we have the sense organs, six sense organs. Outside, there are six dusts that correspond to each sense organ. So far, so good? Inside, outside. And what's in between is called consciousness. So meaning an eye consciousness, I can see the form. The ear consciousness, I can hear the music. Yeah? The taste consciousness, because my tongue can taste the pho. And so on and so on. The five sense organs, yes? And the mind is six sense organ is also called the sixth consciousness. Okay? The eight consciousnesses. I'm only giving you six so far. Okay? Because those are the ones you're aware of. Everyone is aware of. Everyone knows that we can think, we can smell, and so forth. It's because you have these six consciousnesses. So far, so good? That's how we function, inside and outside. However, the Buddha went even further. He says that two more consciousnesses that people are usually not aware of. The seventh consciousness is what? The ego. Your ego is one consciousness. He said, I'm aware of myself. Sounds familiar? I'm aware how great I am. I'm aware of how attractive I am. I'm aware how smart I am. That's an ego consciousness. You're aware, okay, of yourself. Who doesn't have an ego consciousness? Raise your hand. You don't have to agree with me. Who disagrees with me that you don't have a seventh consciousness? See, Gan disagrees with me. She says, I don't have a seventh consciousness. As long as you have an ego, that's called the seventh consciousness in Buddhism. Yeah, 7. There you go. That's right, Malaya. That's it. Aha, 7. Very smart girl. Clever. Yeah. Okay, that's the ego. And then the 8th consciousness, the final one, is very good. Yeah. Oh my God. It's so cute. So the 8th consciousness is called the store consciousness, the storehouse consciousness, because it stores all your karmic seeds. Meaning every single karma you create, there's a seed in that consciousness forever. So if you die here, that 8th consciousness moves with you. You take the next body, it follows you. Next body, it follows you. You didn't know that? It's your best friend. It will never leave you. Well, cool? Yes, in the back. Yeah.
Consciousness.
Repeat.
Master, do we ever be able to destroy that 8th consciousness?
Yeah. We don't have to destroy it. We transform it into wisdom. Ultimately, when you practice Buddhism, these 8 consciousnesses will be transformed into wisdom. Good question. Okay? Meaning that they become so much more accurate. Your 8 consciousnesses right now, your 8 consciousnesses, they confuse you. But when you practice, you become enlightened, you can begin to transform these 8 consciousnesses into wisdom, and which they no longer confuse you. Yes. Numero 1.
Master, does memory of past lives come from the 8th consciousness?
Memory from past lives. Past lives is basically memory from past lives. It's basically from the 8th consciousness, yes. You retrieve it. In fact, you go to Sai Baba. Anyone knows the Sai Baba and their disciples? Okay. He used to be famous, but now he's dead. He's Indian externalist, and they have a lot of spiritual powers, and their followers are good at fortune telling. They access your path. So one of my connections went to a fortune teller in Bolsa, okay, in Santa Ana, for fun, and they're very accurate. They can tell your past, okay, and the way they do it, and they're very accurate, by the way. They know, oh, you're 3 times divorced. They look at you and say, you've been divorced 3 times. And so forth. So they can tell the past. How? Because before, I tell you this so that you can go double check for yourself. Before they tell your fortunes, they say, can I touch your hands? You said, because now with the gender thing, we're not sure anymore. You know, are you like heterosexual and so forth? So, but that's why you have to think a little bit. You know? But you give them permission to touch you, and what happens is the touch, that's all they need to touch you, need you to allow them, okay, to touch you. And that, what happened is that then their ghost enters you and accesses your eighth consciousness. That's why he says, remember, eighth consciousness has all the past information from you. Whatever you did, you know, you yelled at your husband last week. No? You did? You did. She did. You see what I mean? So it's everything you do is stored in the eighth consciousness. That's why all they have to do is go in there and say, you lied to your wife. You didn't go to work last Tuesday. So it has everything. So all the seats are there. Okay? Yes, sir. Justify yourself. Why didn't you go to work?
It's good, sir. No. I'm wondering, does the ghost go back or does it stay with you?
We don't know. Good question. It's dangerous, by the way. It's a very smart question. Once you allow them in, it's like you give them a key to your house. They can come again. If you're close enough, they come again. And they may not. They may stay with you for a while. They say, you have a very interesting life story. Yes, what?
Master, I had a patient who was a very talented medium.
Mm-hmm.
And she ran...
Really? And
yes,
they're crazy too?
She's bipolar. And very talented medium.
Wow.
And she ran a school where she would teach other people how to do it. And she was holding their hand, and there was a lot of that going on.
Yeah,
and then those individuals would
Did you touch her hands?
talented. No, this was phone, telehealth.
Telephone only?
No, I never met her in person.
But did you allow her to connect with you via the phone line? I don't want to scare you.
Well, of course. I was talking to her on the phone. We connected. But I was wondering, these individuals she was training also became very talented all of a sudden.
Yes.
And that would explain it.
Yes.
That was a communication.
And that's what Sai Baba, that group, does. They send people, they send their, the ghosts, okay, to their adherents, the followers, to empower them. So that when this fortune teller asks your permission to touch you without telling you why, okay, I need to touch you. Is it okay? Okay, let me see. And then this is, you're implicitly allowing the ghost to enter you and access your eighth consciousness. Okay? Meaning they know the combination to your safe. All right? So they will come and go as they please, practically. And so I heard of the story because it was told to him by a bodhisattva. He and his friend went to Santa Ana to see the fortune teller. And the friend is Taoist. So his friend said, okay, And he throw his hand, and the medium started telling, "Oh, you have Korean barbecue last week, didn't you? So how did you know?" Okay, and so forth. And so he's so accurate. Okay, they're very good at telling you about what happened. But when you ask them about the future, they have no clues. That's how you can tell these people. He said, "Oh, that's you're right. Yes, I did steal from my office," and so forth. But when you ask them, but what about the future? What is next week's super lotto number? They wouldn't know. Okay. So this guy, this Taoist guy, actually he's very advanced Taoist guy, by the way. Okay. And he has kung fu and he knows a lot. He looked at me and said, "When you go to the bathroom," these people are they're weird. They're trying to impress you constantly. The first time he met me, okay, he looked at me. I was a monk already. And he looked at me and said, "When you go to the bathroom," excuse me, ladies, okay. "When you go to the bathroom, okay, you sit in your toilet. You sit like this, or you sit like this." And he says, "When you go to the toilet, you sit like this, don't you? Your legs are like this. It's not flat. It's not like this, but your legs are like this." I said, "How do you know?" "I don't do it anymore." None of your business. It's weird. They want to know these weird things. Why is it relevant to life? I don't know. But anyway, they know these things. So anyway, so this guy who likes these things, he goes, "See, wow, he knows. That's right. You're right, and so forth." And then he was so impressed. And then next came the Bodhisattva, okay? The Bodhisattva has been watching this, so he stuck his hand out and said, "Go ahead." And the other guy, the medium, face turned. He has a change in his face changed, turned a little bit pale. And he withdrew his hand right away. The medium. I said, "No, I will not touch your hand today. Today I'm tired, so I'm done today." He's afraid that if his ghost touches the Bodhisattva's hand, he would lose a ghost. What does it have to do with Avatamsaka Sutra? Nothing. We're gossiping. Yeah. The world is very interesting. It's not the way black and white the way you think, It's a big world out there. Yes, Colombia.
Thank you, Master. And I imagine this fortune teller afterwards was saying that the Bodhisattva was kind of a demon or something because he felt that way about him.
No, what happened is that they whisper into his ears, "Don't touch him. Don't you dare touch him." Okay? Because they would lose that ghost. They want to multiply, not lose. Okay? You want to come in? Yeah, you can come in, but you can't come out. You can come into prison, but you ain't coming out, man. You want to know? Come in. No. Yes, JMT.
노주 지스님이 말씀하신
Good.
Yeah, of course. Mm-hmm. Continue gossiping. Who cares about the sutra?
Cái chuyện thứ hai là thầy nói về cái thức đó, để mình trở lại với thức. Thì Đức Phật dạy mình là khi chết thì niệm Nam Mô A Di Đà Phật để dẫn cái thần thức người đó niệm theo để mà giảng sanh A Di Đà Phật, sanh cực lạc. Thì trong kinh có nói là thời đời mạt Pháp, Đức Phật nói đời mạt Pháp đó, kinh Lăng Nghiêm sẽ bị tiêu diệt trước, không ai tin nữa hết. Rồi sau đó chỉ còn tồn tại kinh A Di Đà 100 năm. Người ta tin kinh A Di Đà. Rồi sau 100 năm đó thì kinh A Di Đà cũng mất luôn, và chỉ còn 6 chữ Nam Mô A Di Đà Phật thôi. Rồi sau đó mất luôn, không còn cái gì hết. Loài người mình trở vào tâm tối trước khi Phật Gia Đạt ra đời. Thì kinh nghiệm của con là lúc con còn lay Phật sinh đó, thì con đọc nhiều sách, thì có một nhóm chủ trương là niệm A Di Đà Phật thôi, 4 tiếng A Di Đà Phật thôi. Họ biện luận là niệm như vậy người bệnh họ sắp chết rồi, họ yếu lắm, không có thể nghe được 6 chữ và không có làm theo 6 chữ. Họ chủ trương đi hộ niệm mà dùng 4 chữ thôi, rất là nổi tiếng. Thì lúc đó mình không biết đúng hay sai. Họ cũng nói đúng là tại người chết mà niệm 6 tiếng nó dài quá, cho họ đi, hấp hối rồi. Thì con có một người bạn thân sắp chết, bác sĩ cho niệm 8 tiếng tại bệnh viện luôn. Họ biết họ cho tụi bay niệm tại bệnh viện đi. Thì 3 người hộ niệm tới, bên đây gia đình 3 người bên đây, trong đó có con. Thì họ cứ A Di Đà Phật, A Di Đà Phật. Mình ngồi bên đây mình cũng A Di Đà Phật theo. Khoảng chừng 15 phút sau thì nghe cái tiếng không còn A Di Đà Phật nữa, tiếng rất là lạ. Thì con trong bụng con mới trách là tại sao nó đổi cái chú khác không cho mình biết. Cùng nhau niệm nó làm thinh nó chuyển qua tự động vậy. Thì mới hỏi một người thân trong gia đình đó, thì đó, cũng còn A Di Đà Phật, đâu có cái gì đâu, sai đâu. Thì con niệm không được nữa. Thì con hơi nghi rồi. Con niệm Nam Mô Lăng Nghiêm Hội Thượng Bậc Bồ Tát Đa Di Tô Án A La Lệ, thì tức khắc là cái tiếng nó bị mất liền, rồi nghe tới lại A Di Đà Phật liền. Nó phá mình. Rồi thì 15 phút sau cũng không nghe A Di Đà Phật nữa, nghe cái tiếng lạ nữa. Thì con biết có kinh nghiệm rồi, vừa nghe xong là Đa Di Tô Án A La Lệ thì sẽ đề là tạc ra liền. Thì sau đó con về, thầy kêu con về, không ở tại nhà cư sĩ, thì con về lại ở dưới Blue Mountain. Thì sau này mới gặp con gái cổ, thì nó nói là lúc hai vợ chồng nó xuống dưới gara chào xe chở xác về nhà đó, hai chồng niệm không được, mở iPad lên cũng không nghe A Di Đà Phật luôn. Nó không ngờ là nó chỉ tưởng nó bị, nó không ngờ con cũng bị nữa. Nhưng mà con kinh nghiệm là lúc đó con đổi qua Đa Di Tô thì đặt ra cắt liền. Thì đó mà từ đó con mới xác nhận là Đức Phật dạy không có sai. Cái thức mình khi mà ra rất là yếu thì niệm Nam Mô A Di Đà Phật, tức là kêu cái Nam Mô là cầu cứu Đức Phật cho người bệnh người ta đi theo. Còn khi họ chủ trương là niệm A Di Đà Phật, họ shortcut, họ chủ trương là dễ giúp cho người bệnh, thật sự là họ đã tiêu diệt cái pháp Phật trước mấy trăm năm rồi. Sau này kinh Di Đà mất chỉ còn 6 chữ A Di Đà Phật, bây giờ họ diệt trước 6 tiếng để dùm cho ma quỷ là chỉ có 4 tiếng thôi. Tôi xin hết. Cái nhóm đó bây giờ rất là nổi tiếng, đi hộ niệm cho người ta.
Amitabha, the second story that I want to share is we're talking about the consciousness. So the Buddha taught us that when we about to pass away, we can have people to recite Namo Amitabha to Buddha to help lead the consciousness of the deceased to recite the Buddha name so that they can follow the recitation to rebirth into the Pure Land. So in the sutra, the Buddha said that Shurangama Sutra will be destroyed first, and then because there's nobody believe in reciting Shurangama mantra anymore, so then after that, for another 100 years, this Amitabha Sutra will last for 100 years. After that, there's only 6 words, Namo Amitabha Buddha, will last for 100 years, and then only 4 words, and then the Buddha Dhamma will be destroyed, and waiting for Maitreya Buddha to come back to this life. So then, therefore, my experience, there was a team that only advocate reciting 4 words, Amitabha Buddha, because they advocate that reciting 6 words, Namo Amitabha Buddha, is very long, and the people are on the verge of dying. So we can just recite 4 words. That's good enough. That's fast enough. So they are very famous. And so then it makes sense to me. However, I have a friend that about to pass away. So then in the hospital, the doctor allow us to recite the Buddha names for 8 hours. And into 15 minutes of recitation, somehow I was there and I could not hear the recitation of Amitabha Buddha anymore. However, now it changed into a different, very strange mantra. And in my mind, I actually reprimand them that how come they changed into a different mantra without telling me what's happened. But then I asked the member of the family, but then they say that they still reciting Amitabha Buddha name. Then I know that we are under attack. So then I recite Dachuto, and immediately it went back to a normal state. And after another 15 minutes, it started happening again. Now I cannot hear Amitabha Buddha recitation, so I recited Dachuto again, and it went back to normal. Later on, Master told me to come back to the temple because we're not allowed to stay over the night at the late disciple's house. So then later on, I asked this couple what happened, and they told me exactly the same thing. While they were in the ambulance carrying the mother back home, they also recited. They turned on iPad and recite the name, and they cannot do so. So therefore, with this experience, I realized that the Buddha doesn't speak false. So he say Namo Amitabha Buddha is 6 words. So somehow these people cut it short into 4. It is like destroying the Buddha Dharma before it's ended. Nowadays, this group is very famous. Aiding recitation is very famous. That's all.
Yeah, whatever works for them, I'm happy for them. But these people are misguided. It's like you try to teach people before you're certified. You are certified as capable of teaching. When you go to school, before you can teach at a college or university, you must have a diploma, and you must have a degree. You must have gone through some sort of training so that you're certified. You qualify to teach. These people, they advocate these things just because they have a lot of followers. Doesn't mean they know what they're doing. And this is a problem with Pureland Dharma doors nowadays. They are so confused. It's getting worse and worse and worse. And this faction and that faction. And the basis is that they don't know the fundamentals of reciting. What the story is that if you want to recite the Buddha's name, okay, they can stop you. Don't think that just because you can recite the Buddha's name that you're in control. Not at all. They can stop you from reciting. The same vein. If you think you're in control because you can recite the Shrangama mantra, like Master Shenhua disciple says, this is the most powerful mantra in the world as per our master, Master Shenhua. Okay? And the Korean Sunim, for example, also teach, like Sutro Sunim, one of the enlightened monks in Korea, he would teach his disciples because she came to me. Some of them came to me and they were taught to recite the Shrangama mantra, to practice Shrangama mantra. And it's the same issue. Yes, it's a very powerful tool, but they can stop you from using it. You can't recite. You cannot remember how to recite. When the time comes, they can stop you cold turkey. You cannot even think of it, let alone recite. Yes, one.
Thank you, Master. Yeah, that's interesting because I have noticed doing the 42, there are times where I'll just forget certain ones, and I'm like, I don't
They
remember
stop you.
anymore. And then I'll do it another time, it comes back.
Yes, they stop you because they're there. And they help remind you need to be humble. In the 42 hands and eyes Dharma we transmit to you. There's also a Dharma for us to order ghosts and spirits around as well, but we don't use it. It's a lot of hassle. You're asking for trouble. We teach you how to open your wisdom first and take care of yourself, not get sidetracked by these unimportant things. They're fun. They're good to gossip, but they're not. They're not the ultimate good use of your time and your life. Yes, question from JMT.
하지 않습니다. 보상사 얘기해 보세요.
화엄경과 관련된 질문이 아니고요. 죄송합니다. 그리고 이제 제가 지난주에 예불 할 때 번뇌가 있으면 번뇌가 많아서 공덕이 이제 없다고 하셨어요. 마스터께서. 이제 물론 제가 베너러블 XC와 이 관련돼서 대화를 하진 못했는데 그래서 제가 이제 집에서 예불을 했었거든요. 세라님 한번 끊을게요. 또 들렸는데, 그러니까 마스터께서 제가 지난주에 예불할 때 번뇌가 너무 심하니까 공덕이 없는 게 아니냐라고 했더니 마스터께서 저한테 공덕이 없다고 하셨고 XC와 대화를 나눠보라고 하셨는데 제가 XC와 스케줄이 맞지 않아서 이 관련된 내용을 나누지는 못했고요. 그래서 제가 이제 집에서 예불을 했었거든요. 혼자. 한번 끊을게요.
네.
Master, I'm sorry, this is not related to the Avatamsaka Sutra.
No, we're gossiping. No Avatamsaka Sutra today.
So I was doing ceremony, but I had a question about this one before to you. When I do ceremony, I don't build merit and virtue. And then because due to the lack of concentration, and you told me that I should discuss with Master Shincher, but unfortunately I didn't have a time to see him. So anyway, I'm starting to doing ceremony at home alone, and she will continue.
집에서 예불을 이제 그러니까 첫 번째 실험은 제가 혼자 한국 시간에 맞춰서 예불을 해봤었고요. 두 번째 실험은 산호세 현료 스님 예불에 제가 들어갔었거든요. 그런데 이제 현료 스님이 하는 예불이 제가 알고 있던 기억하고 있는 음정과 박자였고 또 번뇌가 없고 예불 자체에 온전히 집중할 수가 있었어요. 한 번 더 끊을게요.
So I did experiments. First one, I followed the ceremony according to Korean time. And there's second experiments, I did a ceremony that's done by Venerable XL in San Jose. When I did the ceremony with Venerable XL, what I remember is it's a rhythm that I remember before, and then I was able to concentrate.
네, 근데 제가 질문 드리는 이유는 마스터께서 그 지난주 데뷔참 미국 월말 데뷔참 끝나고 산호세 애플이 아침 예불과 데뷔참을 둘 다 할 수 없었기 때문에 어떤 걸 좀 더 우선순위를 둬야 되냐라고 했을 때 마스터께서 아침 예불의 중요성을 말씀하셨었는데 제가 의문이 되는 이 질문을 드렸던 포인트는 이제 물론 이게 이제 마치 아침에 저녁 굿나잇이라고 인사를 하고 마치 저녁에 굿모닝이라고 인사하는 것 같은 거예요, 부처님한테. 그래서 이렇게 제 질문의 포인트는 예불 자체에 집중할 수 있기 때문에 밤낮이 바뀐 미국 예불에 하는 게 맞는 건지 아니면 한국 시간에 맞춰서 예불을 해야 되는 건지를 질문드립니다.
근데 여기서 데뷔참이라고 그러셨죠? 데뷔주가 아니고.
주가 아니고.
네, 데뷔참이요, 데뷔참.
네.
The reason I'm asking this question is I remember Apple asked you about either she needs to do it morning ceremony versus great compassion repentance, and then you said morning ceremony is more important. For me, it's kind of a little bit confusing because my night and day are kind of mixed up. Because if I follow American schedule, then that's not really the same time in Korea. So I have a problem with that.
Yeah, all you have to do is contemplate yourself as American.
또 그동안 진전하고 싶지 않았는데 예불 때문에 번뇌가 너무 심해서 사실 좀 빨리 예불에 번뇌가 없도록 빨리 좀 진전하고 싶은 심정으로 번뇌가 좀 심하거든요. 그래서 그러면 그냥 네, 미국 스케줄에 맞춰서 집에서 하겠습니다. 감사합니다.
여태까지 진전하는 걸 원치 않았다고요?
맞다고요?
아, 세란이 못 들었어요.
And the answer is,
지금
don't need to
말씀하신
translate. The answer is that think of it as an American delay.
미국 딜레이.
Yeah, delay.
늦춰진다.
Instead of doing on Korean time, you do it, in America time, you do Korean time.
시간으로 하는데 미국 시간을
I have an answer for everything. Don't worry.
마음에 걸리는 포인트는 마치 아침에 부처님한테 굿나잇이라고 인사를 하고 마치 저녁에 굿모닝이라고 인사를 하는데 그게 예경이 맞냐를 제가 질문하는 거거든요. 전 한국에 있으니까요.
She has a lot of problems, huh?
Master, my question is, it's just a matter of the manner. I'm in Korea, but basically I'm telling Buddha, although it's a morning, I'm telling him good night, and then it's a night, but I'm telling him good morning.
Yeah, there you go.
그렇습니다.
We get along just fine. We have no problems, do we? So where's the problem? What's the question?
질문이 다시 한번
그러니까 예불할 때 번뇌가 너무 심해가지고 번뇌 없이 예불을 하고 싶은 게 제 문제죠.
When I do ceremony, I have just too much affliction. I like to do the ceremony without any affliction.
Yeah, me too.
나도 그렇습니다.
I can't help you. I'm too afflicted. Two. Let me finally tell you one final gossip, if you like. If you don't want, I can go back to Avatamsaka Sutra. You are so bad. And my personal experience made me very humble. Because when I was a novice, I was assigned to Long Beach Monastery for 2 years, where we trained the young novices on the 4 2 hands and eyes and a lot of mantras. That's how I practiced that. Okay? And for some reason, that temple there, the monks, only monks, no nuns and monks like we have now. We like mix, coarse rice and white rice all together. Okay? So at the temple is only monks. And for some reason, and they Chinese, okay? It's a Chinese Dharma, so it's the novices are all Chinese, one Taiwanese. 2 Taiwanese, actually. Oh, look how friendly we are. Wow, look at that. See who she gives. Look at that. Oh, wow, she's making friends. All right. So for some reason, this temple here, the monks there, they have a small problem. What small problem? The problem they have is they can't breathe. Whenever they meditated, whenever they recite the 4 2 hands and eyes, recite the Buddha's name, there will be, every now and then, they could not breathe. It's so scary. You can sit there and you meditate, let's say you do chant for about half an hour, and all of a sudden you can't breathe anymore. The monks there, they can't. Okay? Or you do hands and eyes. You would do hands and eyes for 20 minutes, half an hour, and all of a sudden they can't breathe. So how can they recite? Or you recite the Buddha's name. They recite the Buddha's name. And all of a sudden they can't breathe anymore. How can you continue to recite the Buddha's name? I chuckle. I say, oh, yeah. What's the problem? What's the big deal? Right? Wrong. I was reciting the 42 hands and eyes. I couldn't breathe either. Serves me right for laughing at them. Stupid. You know, I was so stupid. I said, oh, how ridiculous. What's the big deal? Breathe. Sure enough, I couldn't breathe. And what happened to those people is that those are Goyin's Dharma brothers, by the way. The woman who sits back there is a disciple of Master Shenhua, the old disciple of Master Shenhua. They could not breathe. And then, so I mocked them. I said, come on, that's ridiculous. You breathe. You just open your mouth and breathe. What's the big deal, you know? And I couldn't breathe. Okay? And what happened to them is that when it happens to you, I assure you, you're so terrified that you stop. You stop meditating. You stop reciting Buddha's name. You stop reciting the mantras. Forget it. You could be reciting a Shranga mantra. You can't breathe. You stop. You stand up and you walk. And you all of a sudden, you stop. All of a sudden, you can breathe again. Never happened to any of you? And what did you do? Huh? Choking. Here at the temple, at the house. At the house. Because I have a deal with it at the temple. They dare to do it to you at the temple. I beat them up. Anyone who has a problem? No problem back there? Oh, that lady back there? Lady, you can't breathe either? These probably Vietnamese. It's a Vietnamese affliction. They have trouble breathing. Yes. 4. And then we go to 6. We're gossiping today. Forget about the sutra.
Oh, hi, thank you. I had a similar incident at the temple as well as in my dream. I was choking at one time at the temple in San Francisco, and one time numerous incidents where I was having trouble breathing in my dreams.
In your dreams, that's different. That's different. Okay.
But one instant is San Francisco.
That's a different ghost.
Okay.
San Francisco, talk to Master Z. It's not my problem. 6. Wait. 6 here.
Sometimes when I'm reciting mantras or the Buddha's name, I end up like being able to speak because I can just start coughing and coughing and coughing.
That's here?
No.
Okay, see what I mean? Either it happens at DTT or at his home. Yes, one.
Master, I felt like somebody had their hand over my face.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And on your face, it's like this. And you think it's that simple, huh? It's a spiritual cultivation is a lot more going on than you think. Okay? And so what happened is that there's a ghost that suppresses your breathing, that stops you from breathing. So you can't, no matter how hard you want to breathe, but you can't feel your breath. And so you panic. And as soon as you stop, okay, you unbuckle or you stand up, you can breathe again naturally. Hey girls, would you like to experience that? I can talk to them. and they come and pay you a visit. And so happened to the monks there and to the young novices there, and then it happened to me. Okay, because I laugh at them. And it happened to me, I couldn't breathe. But what happened is that I'm different. When I realized I couldn't breathe, I said, you can't stop me from breathing. I knew it's a ghost, so you cannot stop me from breathing. So I kept on breathing. I'm revealing a secret now. Okay, I don't know if it works for you or not. For me, I said, you can't stop me from breathing. Are you kidding me? So I kept on breathing, and I breathed. And they never came back again. So that's a karmic retribution, karmic obstruction. They terrify you so that, because once you terrify of that, they can come back anytime and stop you from in your spiritual practice. You are dead in your tracks. You can no longer make progress. As soon as you're about to make progress, they come and stop you from breathing, and you stop. That's how scary it is. So don't be so full of yourself, okay? When you're on your own, you find out. Okay, there's a lot more going on than you think. Okay, so don't be so proud of yourself. Okay? So that's why these people said, I know this, I know that. It's because they haven't experienced the real obstructions yet. Okay? Because they have not accomplished anything yet, anything significant yet. That's why they ignore you. But once, like you practice Dharma, like the one we teach you, the 42 hands and eyes, okay, they are very powerful dharmas. That's why as soon as you show signs of promises, they come and stop you and discourage you from the practice. That's why they attack Master Hsuan-Hua's disciples a lot. And what surprises me is that he didn't help them. They never know how to deal with it. So the way I deal with it myself, after that, and I started teaching 17, 18 years ago. I made a deal with them. I said, no one believes me. So if I tell them to keep on breathing, no one's going to believe me. So I made a deal with them. I said, if you don't bother my disciples, okay, I will not attack you. So they really haven't bothered my disciples, at least the ones I like. The ones I don't like, they feel free to bother them. And it works so far. Now I don't care anymore. Bother them. It's okay. I'm no longer attached. Okay, I tell you something you don't want to do, you don't believe, big deal. None of my business. Hey. All right? And so it's fun. Spiritual thing is fun, let me tell you. It's just so much that going on behind the scenes that you think. So that's why anyone who dares think that, they got to figure it out, they're in for a big surprise. If you think that you can recite the Buddha's name for 50 years and specialize in reciting Buddha's name, they can still come and stop you. Nothing you can do. You have to learn how to not allow them. But I don't think Master Hsuan-Hua taught his disciples yet. That's why. That's why she still gets stopped. Okay. All right, I have 10 minutes. Shall we go to learn something or you want to gossip? Okay, let's finish this slide, shall we? Okay, so this slide here, oh, that's the next one. So this celestial king here, this big shot here, this Mahasattva, okay? For this particular Mahasattva, for example, let me tell you, his good eyes, good is Shan. Shan is goodness. It's not doing good, but the goodness of the heart. Okay? And it shows through his eyes. So Master Shiva explains it as kind eyes. Okay? Kindness is a manifestation of the goodness in your heart. Okay? It shows through your eyes. The way you look at the children, you know, it's kindness, you look at them, that's from the goodness in your heart. So for this particular celestial king, when you look at him, it feels very comforting, very, very, you feel safe. He's very approachable. Okay? And how did he become enlightened? He became enlightened by everywhere in the universe. He purified the places where all sentient beings live. Remember, at the beginning of today's class, I talked to you about sentient beings, that beings that have consciousness. There are two things. They have consciousness and they have feelings. That's why they're called sentient beings. Any being that has consciousness, okay, and also has feelings, they are considered sentient beings. Feelings meaning they know they can suffer. They have feelings. All right? And consciousness is that they have these 8 consciousnesses that we talked about. So far, so good? Okay. So all the sentient beings, where they live, this celestial king, before he became enlightened, he would go and help purify those places of where these living beings lived. And what does it take to purify? To purify refers to the fact that you undefile. So what's creating defilements in our world? This is very, very, very fundamental to life. Our world is called impure world because it has 3 poisons: greed, anger, and stupidity. Because of the presence of these 3 poisons in our hearts, our world is impure. Our world is defiled. Is that clear? It's so fundamental. We look at engineering, look at the marvels in the world, but we don't dare look at our own ickiness, our own ugliness, that how greedy we are, how angry we are, how stupid we are. It's easier to look outside. Okay? And the fundamental thing is that if you cannot see your 3 poisons, okay, you basically are subject to obstructions. They came and obstructed these people and prevented them from breathing because it's through their 3 poisons: greed, anger, and stupidity. So that's why these Mahasattva, the celestial king, good eyes here, he can no longer be stopped by the demons because he's free from these 3 poisons: greed, anger, stupidity, to the point where he's now able to help living beings get rid of them. That's Mahayana, folks. This is the big picture. We're learning all this. We recite the Buddha's name. We recite the mantras. We do the chant, we do the huatou, for the purpose of helping living beings. That's how you become a Mahasattva. That's how you rise above your own limitations, your own selfishness, your own narrow mind, your narrow vision, your tunnel vision. Okay? It's because of your three poisons: greed, anger, stupidity. And until you're able to rise above it, okay, you cannot help others. That's the nature of our existence. If you still have the three poisons, you think you're helping, but actually you're not, really. You can't help much at all. Okay? That's why after he became enlightened, okay, in order to become enlightened, he created a lot of merit and virtue by helping beings, because he himself is free from greed, anger, stupidity anymore. That's why the demons can no longer stop him. That's how he's able to help others overcome their greed, anger, and stupidity. And so he realizes that he goes everywhere, okay, to help all kinds of beings become purified, become free of greed, anger, and stupidity. Meaning, what? Help them become enlightened. This is what Mahasattvas do. They help us become enlightened. Now, not until next life. Wait till Amitabha Buddha makes you become enlightened. No, that's too long. Okay? It's now. This is why they come to our world, become a world ruler, so that they do it on a more aggressive scale and with much more authority. Before, he wasn't a celestial king yet, but he still had to go around and purify the realms everywhere. And he did it often enough that he gained a vast amount of experience. That's how he said, I'm going to become celestial king so that I can help even more people. Yes, 6.
There's a phrase there that's Amitabha. There's a phrase there that says return to enlightenment. Can you explain why it says return?
Because you used to be enlightened. Your Buddha nature. You originated from you yourself. I'm not talking about anyone. I'm not talking about MJ here. Okay? I'm talking about you. Buddha looks at you and says, you came from enlightenment. You've been wandering around in this world, this universe, getting more and more confused. Okay? Now you met the Dharma again. Let me remind you where your original home is. It's a home of enlightenment. And if you practice Mahayana, it's like going back, going home, and you return to enlightenment. That's why we're doing this. Don't settle for less, folks. You go to the Pure Land, it's the same thing. You go to the Pure Land in order to return to enlightenment. Here, you only have less than 100 years to do that. Over there in the Amitabha Buddha's Pure Land, you have infinite amount of time until you become a Buddha yourself. Okay? So time is not an issue in the Pure Land. Time is very short here. That's why, can you see now why you need to have both worlds? Sound world and the Western Bliss Pure Land. Western Bliss Pure Land is the slow path, okay, the safe path. But when you're strong enough, Amitabha Buddha will send you back here. Because you can take a beating. And here, you can progress quicker. So back and forth, back and forth. That's why I call exchange of prisoners. You know, the Asian Pureland Buddhists, they say, you know, I'm going to Pureland, I'm never coming back here. Or some idiots, monks would say, I'm never going to Pureland because I want to stay here and save living beings. Seriously? You don't have any biceps. How much can you lift? How many people can you carry on your back? And you want to save how many people again? So that's why for these idiots who say, I'm going to stay here forever so that I can save people, my work is not finished, those are the losers. Okay? Instead, if you have wisdom, you go to the Western Bliss Pureland first. Let me Amitabha decide what you should be doing instead of your stupid mind thinking you know it all. Does it make sense? You first go there. And Amitabha Buddha said, you know, you're not ready yet. Let me beat up on you a little bit. Have fun a little bit with you. And then he trains you until you're strong enough. Then he sends you back here and say, okay, now go back and do some work. Okay? So the training, shh, don't tell them. Promise? The training is at both locations, Saha World and Western Bliss Pureland. It's not like you go there and you never come back, or you stay here and never go to the Pureland. As those are for idiots. They're trying to sell you, trying to impress you. No, it's always back and forth. They're brothers. Amitabha Buddha and Shakyamuni Buddha, they're very close. There's no brothers here today. Huh? They work together, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Believe. Yeah? All right, time is up. Thank you, everyone. Yes.